preparation for startup. Make sure that the power lever is back against the stop, which is in the flight idle position. Okay, lifting the knob up and placing it back, we'll put it in the ground idle position. So just forward of that is where it needs to be on startup. Speed lever needs to be in low, so make sure that's all the way back. We check that our fuel, this is our emergency fuel cut-off. If this fails, we need to go to this lever and just pull it straight out. Alright, so we make sure that's all the way in and that the normal fuel on off is in the forward position and locked. Okay, so coming back, we'll start with our master switch. Master switch is on. Oh sorry, I forgot to also show that the park brakes are already on too. Alright, so after park brakes, we've got our master switches on. And we'll check and we'll make sure we've got above 25 volts. And as we can see, we've definitely got near 26 volts there. Our other gauge, which we're going to need to keep an eye on straight after startup, is our oil pressure. And we have the RPM and EGT sitting there. Okay, so making sure that that's well below 200 degrees too before startup. That's only a concern if you've already had the engine running. Okay, next switch is our engine stop. So we'll just lift up the latch and listen, make sure that solenoid's working. And we can hear that echo, the solenoid echoing through the engine cowling. Next switch is the boost pump. We'll flick that on and we'll get fuel pressure up. And it should normally come up to about 18 psi as it has, and we can flick that off. Okay, next switch will be our start mode. This is our starter generator. Up for start, down for Jenny on. Right, so it needs to be in the up position. Okay, our next switch will be the starter switch. This will start the engine turning, and then at 10% we'll come across and I'll hit the fuel, hold the fuel on until we get light off. Right, and I might flick that a couple of times just to accelerate it. Then when we get 18% on our RPM, when I get 18%, I'll flick the start boost on, and then things will happen quicker. So then basically we'll monitor this and keep feeding fuel in with the fuel on switch, or the fuel spray switch. We'll keep feeding it fuel, just keep the engine accelerating and monitoring the EGT. To start off with, we'll do it reasonably slow until we get a stabilised EGT of about 580, 600 degrees. And then you can just let the EGT drop, but the engine will keep accelerating. But when we get to about 45, 50%, we're going to have to hit it a bit faster and just keep that engine accelerating. And yeah, it shouldn't max out more than about 640 degrees. Okay, you can hold that please, Mark. Just get it lined up there on the EGT and the RPM. Get all that way. Okay.
Can't we hold it the other way?
Yeah, maybe hold it the other way. There we go, that's good. Alright, ready to go. So just bring it back down here for a second. So as I start, I'm going to keep my left hand here on the engine stop, so that if things start going hot, I can just go bang and kill the whole start sequence altogether. And this hand here I'll use to flick the starter, hit the fuel, hit the start boost, and then come back to the fuel. Okay, so yeah, just set it back up there.
Oh, I'll watch you do that.
Alright. Okay, clear. So this hand on here, hitting the start, looking for 10%. 6, 8, 10, fuel on. Waiting for light off, we got light off. Now we're looking for 18%, start boost is on. Now I'm just feeding fuel in to keep it accelerating. 520, 530, fuel, 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 fuel. Okay, as she starts to wind up, easy as that. So we can see there we only got the 640 degrees. Check over and make sure the oil pressures come up. And then what we can do is just bring it back into ground idle. is that, have it sitting in that position, and we're all good. So we noticed then I flicked these off once I had a sustained start at about 55 or 56%. First you flick your start boost off and then the starter. Okay, once the engine's operating under its own steam and we're above about, or holding about 70% RPM, that can come down and we can flick the generator on, flick across the amps to make sure we're charging. Now, if we want to get the propeller off the start locks, what we have to do now is bring the power lever or condition lever all the way back into beta, and then we can push it all the way forward, and that'll put us into flight idle. Don't push the lever forward at the moment because you'll just put a ton of fuel in there and it'll just get hot, but you won't get any load up on the prop at all. Alright, so I'll just give that example. We'll check our oil temps coming up, wait till it's about 70. I like 70 because you're well in the green. Also see there we're running about 380 degrees, which is pretty normal even for the other drums. Okay, 70, what I'll do is pull this back, starts to go into beta, then I'll push forward, and we can hear it change, and now Mark's about to get blown off the side. And we can see that our torque has now come up. Okay. Once we've done that, we can pull it back into our ground idle. And it's ready for taxi. You can taxi with it.